What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Monday Hangover. We have a very special guest, and I'm not going to make him wait backstage too long, but as you know, he is a wonderful friend of mine, and he played Schoolboy in the movie that we reviewed this week, Rambo. Yeah, absolutely love it. So we're going to ask him all the secret questions. He's going to spill the beans on Sylvester Stallone. I don't know. I would never ask him to do anything, but could you welcome Matthew Marsden? How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I don't have a clap track.
Come on, Jay.
Come
on.
There you go.
Yeah. I'll bring it.
That's how. And also, if you didn't know, Matthew Marsden has an amazing based YouTube channel. The link is in the description, and the mods are going to drop that. Please subscribe. You won't be sorry. Trust me. He also has amazing guests on over there as well. So you would absolutely love it. So make sure you subscribed. It's in the description, and people are dropping that. And before we even begin, Spider Unlimited for $5 is Hail Law. One of my favorite movies. Stallone performances, characters, Schoolboy, and to Matthew Marsden, the ever so wise sage. Go sub to his channel. Look at that.
Hell, gotta
your
love
fans
that.
are over here, man.
Yeah, Spider's great. He's really awesome. Thank you, Spider.
He's always around. So I see everyone in the chat. My friend X-Wing and others are here, but because we have this opportunity with Matthew, how are you, sir?
Oh, you're talking to me? I thought you were talking to
X-Wing.
I'm great. Yeah, I haven't been drinking yet. So, but yeah, I'm great. I'm great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So, Rambo.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
Does anybody on the panel have a question first before I really
we just like to watch you make it awkward, Jay.
I know.
Really,
Absolutely perfect.
Listen, I first got to meet Matthew Marsden in Dallas. We became friends on the internet. I started following his Twitter. He began speaking out about things way back in the COVID era. You know, it was kind of like him and Gina were kind of just like standing up and asking the right questions and like calling stuff out that should be called out and asking for, you know, the right answers to questions. So I began to follow him, and I made a video about Matthew Marsden talking out and speaking out of Hollywood. And then he followed me back for some strange reason. And I just embarrassingly like, hello, good sir. Hey, you don't know me, but I'm friends with Gina Carano. Would you like to come on my channel? It was one of those things. And he was like, I'd love to. And then he goes on Ryan's channel first. I was like, dang it, Ryan. How'd you pull that off?
Listen, he was pushy. What can you say? Ryan's pushy. You know that.
And then he came, and then we had an amazing conversation. And when I went to Dallas, it was me and Ryan. We got to hang out with Matthew, put away some old fashions.
That's
and,
right.
It was awesome, man. It was awesome. Got to, and then I introduced him to Gina in Dallas. So like everyone got to meet, and he's been a great friend ever since.
My favorite catchphrase from Matthew's Twitter is, I promise you, not all actors are like
yes,
that.
that's right.
Unfortunately, most of them are, right? But I mean, that's the problem. But yeah.
Every time I told him he needs to make videos on like every actor that he's just like, they're not all like this. They're not all like this.
Well, I think the first comment you made, because I put out, I was like, anyone can be the Mandalorian.
Yes,
right?
that's right.
Because that guy just is, yeah, I'm not going to say much about it, but, and I'm like, but the truth is anyone can be the Mandalorian. And so, you know, I think that's how we first got to speak to one another.
And Screen Rant's trying to carry water on that right now. Actually, they're putting out puff pieces saying, "Oh, it's very important that Pedro Pascal is in the suit." I'm like, okay. I mean, do you mean in the no offense, but do you mean in the recording booth?
Well, exactly, yeah. I mean, you know, look, I don't have hate for other actors at all, you know, and I'm not jealous of other actors in any way, shape, or form. I always want people, and you know this, Jay, I always want people to win. You know, it's a tough enough industry as it is. And I always think that, well, I used to, in my naivety, think that the best actor got the job, but he's just insufferable, and you just say, just be quiet. And you know what happened with Gina was horrendous. It's funny because I just sent a message to a friend of mine, which was Orson Welles, talking about how important friendship is. And I think that you know, Hollywood is actually built on relationships of convenience, and that's not the way I roll. And I think when I first went in there, I went in like very naive. I'm like, oh, you know, everyone wants to be my friend, and then you realize, well, no, it's because actually you're doing movies, and everyone. I know that might sound stupid, but when you're there, everyone is wanting to get into films, or they're, you know, you talking to, oh, I'm a producer, and then you realize, oh, there's a very few people that are actually making the films, and I value friendship and family above any of that. Clearly, right? Else I wouldn't have spoke out back in the day. But unfortunately, Hollywood hasn't rewarded honesty and truth
No.
in recent years. So,
Well, I want to quickly introduce you to, and there might be one or two that might pop in. They're just running a little bit late, but the person on your left is Jonas. He really isn't Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he helps run a media site, a website that is truth-telling articles about entertainment and things like that. So
that would be geeksandgamers.com and thatparkplace.com.
Yes.
I've heard of. I think I've heard of those.
Thank you. Also work with Valiant, of course, but you know Valiant.
Yeah.
Right below him is Lily. Don't get on her bad side because she goes viral on Twitter like every other. She called out Star Wars and stuff, and I'm like, how do you get 20 million impressions calling this stuff out, Lily? I don't know how she does it, but yeah. So she keeps us all. She keeps us all in line. Mo Zamboni, just we felt sorry for him, so we brought him on. And
yeah.
But I do want to introduce you to Blaine, who is right beneath you. He's also got fed up with Hollywood and Rotten Tomatoes and things like that. So and I just want to show you real quick, he's created a site called Criticless, where you can go and people are reviewing Rambo. You could review movies where you get the honest score from people. It's free to sign up and free to join. And we kind of push that here in this little sphere because, you know, we're kind of tired of like the paid people pushing movies that, you know, like you should watch this. It's good. Trust me. So Blaine took it upon himself to create this amazing website where people can sign up and review their own films and put their reviews up and stuff like that. So anyway, that's a quick introduction. I didn't want to leave anybody out. So
wow, you didn't even give me a chance to retort. All right, fine.
He's like, this is our special needs hire, and moving on.
Yeah, that's it. No, he's Mo. I don't know what he does, but he's awesome. He made the thumbnail, so he's a thumbnail.
It gets worse. It gets worse.
Yeah, sorry. I need to stop talking like that. But Matthew, are you able to walk us into the audition, like how Rambo? How did this happen? Did they call your people?
Yeah,
that you reached out on, please.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing. So I got a call from my manager, and it was really weird, like because he called me up, and it was almost like a joke to him, and he was like, "Matt, they're doing another Rambo movie," and I'm like, "They're doing a what?" Right? Because I mean, of course, I'm a huge fan. He goes, "They're doing a Rambo movie, and they want to see you for it," and I'm like, yes. And so they sent the script over to me, and at that point it was called Rambo Pearl of the Cobra, and I read through it. Right. Yeah, I've got it somewhere actually. I've got the first draft of it, and I read it, and they wanted me to go in for Lewis.
And which one was Lewis, by the way? That
is Graham McTavish. The bald-headed SAS guy.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. Oh, my.
The douche.
Yes. So, who is not like that in real life at all. It's kind of funny. He's one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet. Like, he's awesome.
Great in Outlander.
Oh, yeah. He's just a terrific actor. I got a couple of stories about Graham as well, but he's wonderful. And so since Black Hawk Down, after I finished Black Hawk Down, I continued training with the special operations guys. So I go off on, shoot with the, former Delta guys. And so I really knew, and I know that community very well. So when I went in to play the role, I played it like a real SAS guy would. And if a classic example of this is if ever you've seen Christian Craighead, who's Nairobi One Kenobi, the guy that went into the mall in Nairobi, they're very soft-spoken. They're very calm. And so I played him like that. And Schoolboy was meant to be a Navy SEAL, and he was the lead. So what happened in the original script was that instead of Baumgarten coming in as the missionary, head of the missionaries, he was a CIA guy. And he came in and he says, hey, I'm bringing these guys in. And at the end of the movie, I pair up with Rambo and he becomes like Troutman. And the last scene of the film was us in some bar somewhere with him saying, all right, we're going to do some more missions. And so when they said to me, no, he wants to meet you. So that's how the phone call came in first. My manager calls me and he goes, hey, Stallone wants to meet you. What are you doing like tomorrow afternoon? I went, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing now. And they said, well, he's going to call you in a minute. And sure enough, he calls me and it's that voice, right? And he was like, hey, can you hang out tomorrow? And I'm like, gee, let me think. Yes, I can. So I went down to his office on, it was on Little Santa Monica Avenue in Beverly Hills. And I went down and met with him. And so I go into the office. It's really funny. So I go into the office and it's got all those posters. Right? All those posters. You know what I mean? Like, I think the first one I saw was Cobra. And I'm like, come on now. and memorabilia and everything. And he comes out. And I grew up loving Stallone. I mean, who did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who didn't? And I'm like, this is an out-of-body experience for me. Like, I'm not cool about those things. I'm like, this guy's achieved so much in his life. And here I am, when I was little, I dreamt about, I watched Rocky and I'm like, because I come from, let's just say, modest beginnings. I was like, if I work hard enough, I can achieve it. And I look to Rocky for that. If you fight hard enough, you can achieve it. So he comes out and he's got these giant shoulders. He's not, obviously people say he's not tall, but he's not short. And he comes out and he's like this wide. Mm-hmm. And we go into his office and it's exactly what you think Stallone's office would be, like giant oak table, just very manly. And we start talking, and he had an encyclopedic knowledge of firearms. And obviously, I love the Second Amendment. I'm a big firearms guy, so we could sit there and talk about it.
That's what's up.
And you know what he did, which was really amazing. So he told me, "Hey, listen, I want you to play Schoolboy." And he gets up and he walks over and he's got these huge shoulders and he's got this DVD in his hand and he puts this DVD in and he presses play. Well, the thing goes in, he sits down, presses play, and it goes ba 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 ba. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And it was the trailer for Rocky Balboa.
That's cool.
And I'm like, what is going on in my life right now? Like, this is insane. And I watched the trailer and immediately, that movie's going to be amazing. Immediately. And I turned around and I looked at him like that and I went, and he went, and that was it. Because we knew he was back, right? He was back. So,
that's amazing.
Unfortunately, because of the success of that film, he changed the script while we were shooting to the one that you've got. But you can't, as a fan of the franchise, like, what are you going to do? Rambo Goes Home? Great. Right? I mean, it's the perfect end.
Right.
Should have been the perfect end.
They did one more after that.
I know.
Last Blood.
Yeah, they shouldn't have done that, in my opinion.
So I did a binge and I watched the first 4 here. So I mean, I love the first Rambo.
it's really hard not to watch them. I love the Rambo movies so much. Like I was so excited when I found out that this is the movie that we were watching. I was like, yes, I watched it so many
But
times. I love it.
this is when I knew that that movie was going to be good. Rambo 2008, because it was going to be called John Rambo, right? As was
Yeah.
right before they called it.
Yeah.
When they start the movie out with Long Road by Jerry Goldsmith, I'm like, all right, finally, we're
Yeah.
back into it, which is a great song, by the way. They
Yeah.
started and ended with it, but yeah, no, it was great.
So
Fantastic movie.
if you had Graham McTavish's, if the role that ended up going to Graham McTavish was the one that you were up for, did it still have that same arc? Were you still kind of button heads with him on the boat there, or is that just not even in that original script?
It wasn't. From what I can remember, it wasn't like that. So this was amazing thing about Sly is that when I was sitting in that office with him, he said to me, "I don't want you to do an American accent. I don't want you to be a SEAL. I just want you to be SAS." And I said to him, "Well, there's tension in the British Army between the parachute regiment. So there's a little bit of nerd stuff for you. So the parachute regiment is the British Army, right? And then you've got the Royal Marines. Well, the ones that graduate and go up into the SAS, which is equivalent to Delta, they come primarily from the parachute regiment. And the guys that go up from the Royal Marines go into the SBS, which is the Special Boat Squadron. And so I said to him, look, there's those, if you get a group of paras and a group of Royal Marines together, they will fight. It's just, they always do. They've done it for years. And I said, I think have some natural kind of conflict if I'm SBS. And he went, okay. It was just as easy as that. And also there's the Royal Marine Commando school has a sniper course. So it was like really a natural thing for me to do. And then I said, we can have some banter. And it's true, like the SBS and the SAS fight alongside each other seamlessly, but there is that banter between the two. And so that's why, that scene when we're on the boat and I turn around and speak to Sly, that was a giant speech that I had. And I went up to Sly and I was like, snipers don't talk like this. I think I'm probably the only actor in the history of Hollywood that taught myself out of a speech. But I said to him, they don't talk like this. It was like, oh, this is a gun. I'm cleaning the gun and everything. And he said, I want you to talk about it. And I went, they wouldn't do that. And he looks at me like knowing that they wouldn't. And he goes like this. He goes, there's two of us, like we don't say anything through the movie. And I was like, I meant to take over the franchise, dude. What, they don't say a lot. They just don't say a lot.
Those rumors are true that they were going to take your character Schoolboy and continue with several films. That was was that did he talk to you about that when you met him the first time? Or okay.
And what he said was, if you think about it, smart, because no one can replace Rambo. Nobody. Yeah. So what he decided to do, because he's very, very clever, is he's like, well, I can get a Brit. I can mentor the Brit, so it's not replacing Rambo. Yeah. And he said, you will be, the way he put it was, I am the blunt instrument. You will be the scalpel. And that was the whole thing about, Schoolboy being so precise with his shots and, he could do other things as well. If you think about it, he's deadly in the film, and he's the one that really, and he has that moral. You can't see it in the film, but I have that shirt has an angel on it, and so you can't see it. It's all black, but it's got an angel on the front and the back. So there was a lot of, and I'm doing Overwatch there in that scene. So yeah, it was amazing to have the conversation with him. He's very, very, very intelligent and a great writer.
Yeah, because he wrote this one, right?
Yeah, he wrote and directed it. Yeah.
Where did you guys film this at? Was it in location?
Yeah, so we had some crazy stuff happen when we were out there. So we filmed in a place called Chiang Mai in Thailand, and it's right in the Golden Triangle. So we're right up there near Burma. And we get calls in the middle of the night, like, the phone would go and you pick it up thinking it's production, and they'd be like, "I'm gonna kill you," and you're like,
Oh my god.
and it was the
Wow.
Burmese. Yeah, they wanted to kill us. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Oh my god.
that's crazy.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. One of the
Real
things
nice.
that I really did feel like was that it felt very realistic. So,
Cool.
because like, and I mean that,
Yeah.
and I mean that like being from Colombia, right? Growing up, knowing everything about the guerrillas and the drug cartels and how they run paramilitary in the jungle, right? So that stuff was on our TV screens every single night. And when I watched the movie, I can't remember who I watched it with, but I turned to them and I was like, this looks extremely realistic. And I don't think I've seen that in other movies.
Yeah. So here's a little bit of trivia for you. When he went to get this approved by the MPAA, he was like, "There's no way they're going to approve this. There's not a chance, right? It's just too violent." So he was like, "You know what? If I put it all in, then they're going to turn it down, and then I'll get like 85% of that, and it'll still be one of the most violent movies ever made." And he goes in and he plays it, and they go, "Okay." And he was like, "What?" But that's how you got the movie so violent. They didn't say a thing.
That's wild.
That's 2008. That's
I-
amazing.
That's
For
really-
years how
but-
brutal this was, and
Dude.
had never seen
Yeah.
it. And
The
holy
kids.
smokes.
But that violence is really how it is. That is really how it is out there. So like that's one of the things that I really liked about the movie. It was just it felt very, very realistic.
Yeah, something I definitely appreciated about it is that they don't just edit stuff out, like they actually let you see what's happening. Because a lot of movies that have like the same kind of violence going on, they edit it in a certain way so that you kind of get the idea of what's happening. And this one, no, you're watching everything happen. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, Matthew shot people's heads off.
Yeah.
Like, that was like,
Yeah,
we're just standing there and like the heads blow up, and you're just like, oh, well, that's a good shot.
yeah,
Through multiple dudes in a
Yeah.
line. Like,
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Dust.
That was cool.
I went with a bunch of guys, including the stunt guys, and you know the stunt coordinator. It was Chad Stahelski.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Really?
nice.
Yeah. So,
Dang.
but I went to because I don't normally watch my stuff, right? I won't watch it, but you know, sometimes you have to when you're in a premiere. And my friends had said to me, "Matt, you got to come," you know, like the stunties, because I always kind of gravitate to the stunties, right? And so they're, you got to come watch it with us. I'm like, okay, I'll come. And I went with the priest. This is not a lie. I went with the priest, who's a friend of mine. And so we're at the back, we're sitting at the back of the theater. And Brian Orley, who's one of the stunt guys, he was he's a tough dude. I'll tell you what he did. He used to play. Do you remember the Universal, the Waterworld?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Waterworld.
The Waterworld stunt show.
yeah.
He played the guy, the oiler, whatever his name is, the one that
Hopper, Dennis Hopper's
Hopper played,
character.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're there, and then there's that scene where I shoot the two guards, and he just goes, "Whoa, F yeah!" And then he goes, "Sorry, father, sorry." Sits down again, and then when I shoot him again, I shoot the guy in the boat, right? And he's like, "Oh, F yeah, that's awesome." Sorry, father, and sits back down again. So it was really funny. It was a really great experience. I mean, going into the theaters and seeing the reaction of people, it was like, you know, we took a step back to the 80s, and I'm a massive fan of that. And I also think as well that, you know, there's gratuitous violence and then there's violence for a point. And I think that what Sly did in this, I mean, not in the same way that we did in Black Hawk Down or the same way they did in Hacksaw Ridge, but he was trying to show, as you said earlier, that this is real. Like, this is happening to real people, and we're kind of insulated from it. And I know when he was looking at writing it, he said, "Where is the most brutal atrocities happening in the world? Burma."
Burma.
And listen, I've got to tell you something, that a lot of actors and a lot of people say this, like, well, why are there so many British actors in these movies? Is a lot of American actors won't travel to places like that because they're like, I don't fancy getting kidnapped. I don't fancy, getting, whatever. And so we were definitely under the threat of that while we were there.
I've got a question for you. It may be a bit of a silly question, but so I'm Rocky and Rambo, obviously same dude. I'm very used to seeing Rocky being beefed and huge and, like Stallone. Watching Rambo, he's slim and trim for a lot of that. And that kind of plays into the idea of the grifter Vietnam vet. It kind of throws me off at the beginning of Rambo 2008. Because I feel like for the first 20 minutes or so of that film, I've got to get used to the fact that I'm looking at what I cannot get out of my head, like it's Rocky in Rambo cosplay for like 20 minutes. What was that like for you on set? Was that something that was in your head, or were you already used to the idea of it by the time you actually get to shooting this film? There's a moment, I think it's the scene where he gets out the bow and arrow. It's like, okay, I'm there. It's not a problem for the rest of the film. But for a lot of it, I'm like, that's Rocky.
Yeah, I think that, not to get all actory, but, you go into the world, right? Like you inhabit the world at that point. And so when I meet him, I mean, of course, I know who it is, like myself, right? But you have to give yourself that kind of suspension of disbelief and say, like, what would it be like if I met this guy in the middle of the night? I mean, you look at him and you're like, clearly he can take care of himself, right? Like that's not a problem. So I approached it like that, and that worked with my character, right? I knew that something was going on with that guy, and again, with those special forces guys, they would have picked up on that as well. Like they know the way people carry themselves, how quiet they are. If you're around those guys a lot, you can pick up a lot of stuff, and so. That's where I came into it. I came into it as in, I haven't met this guy ever before. I don't know anything about him. You know what I mean? So when I'm there, I'm kind of checking him out. But I totally understand what you mean. There's a point in the movie where we're running and I've got that giant rifle and he says to me, take point. And we were like, sometimes you'll do a rehearsal, right? Sometimes you go, let's just shoot it. And we were doing a rehearsal on this one, and he goes, okay, we're gonna run up this hill and we're gonna swap. I'm like, okay. And we didn't rehearse it. So I just clattered into him. Like we both just went boom. And it was like hitting a truck. He was solid.
I bet.
Dude's huge.
Oh man.
Just solid. So I mean, and by the way, he was also like in between takes. He had this like stick with a piece of like rope off it with a weight on it, and he was just doing this all the time in between, like lift it, like rolling it up, rolling it back down, rolling it back
Dude,
up.
those are the worst exercises. Like those things, they burn.
That burns.
Yeah.
I have a question. The one scene where you guys, it looks like you guys are on the top of the mountain. The enemy shows up with some prisoners and they're playing the game. That's the first time Rambo shows up with a bow and arrow and kills everyone. While you guys were walking to that field, there was like, it seems like that was like one whole set. There was nothing but like hundreds of dead bodies like all around. How is that? Like, did they just, when you came on set and saw that, was that just like, holy crap, like this is, I mean, were they like all there? Like, was that just one area that they just filmed in for that whole scene and they just left like dead bodies everywhere and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And it was just because you guys got in the mud, you guys got in the water, he's killing everybody with arrows, and then you guys have that one scene where he pulls the arrow right in that guy's eye, and you're like, what do you suggest we do, Rambo?
That's so cool,
we're gonna follow you now.
Great moment.
Yeah, I mean,
there was that whole scene where you guys walk. There's flies everywhere. Like, how did that work? And like dead bodies everywhere. Is like, was that just surreal or?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been very fortunate because my first movie in Hollywood was Black Hawk Down, which was massive. So it's not like, so that movie, I think Black Hawk Down was like maybe $80 million. And in them's days monies, that was a lot of money. And, you know, when I first walked onto set there, we literally took over the city in Rabat, in Morocco. So I'd been on massive sets. So where they, you know, because a lot of, in fact, I've hardly ever been on sets on sound stages. I've always been on like outdoor real sets. But when I walked onto that, it was the side of a mountain, and they'd put all kinds of like meat around. So those flies they were everywhere, and it did feel like it was real. Like when you were there,
They attracted real flies for the set and everything.
Oh my.
Wow.
Wow, that is really cool to kind of hear how they did it.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like,
it was
like,
a
all right,
huge
coffee
crew.
break, everyone. Everyone get a sandwich. There's like dead bodies all around you, and it's like, you know.
But here's
Hey,
the thing
listen,
about
when-
the dead bodies. The dead bodies looked absolutely real because we see real ones in the real footage in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, this isn't like, oh, like, you know, like a Blaine from Predator, where he's been dead for like 12 hours in the jungle and he's still got the red in his face and all that stuff. You know, that looked absolutely brutal. Like that would be disconcerting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is weird sometimes when you're there. I mean, and certainly you're in it, right? Like you're trying to get into, you know, again, not being all actory, but you are trying to put yourself in that position to give the most realistic reaction that you possibly could in the moment. And so we had like 300 crew on that film. So even though the movie was, I think it was about $40 million, the crew was massive. And we had all those set pieces, and we'd be going all over the jungle in Thailand, up and down the river. And all of it, it was just practical, you know. I mean, even when Slide gets hold of the cobra, that's a real cobra. I remember going down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, walking past the boat, and he was playing around with it. I'm like, you're out of your mind.
Why are you playing around with the cobra?
Yeah, he was like holding it.
Dumb question. Was it devenomized? I'm hoping.
No. What they did was they wrapped
Oh my
its mouth.
gosh.
They wrapped its mouth with tape.
That doesn't sound very safe.
I know.
Hard pass.
No.
I'm all for trying to stick to a budget, but then, bruh.
Yeah.
A bit much.
That's wild.
Yeah. That is
Wow,
wild.
that's crazy.
Did you have a question, Jonas, about his training?
Well, actually, I have a kind of a bizarre one for Black Hawk Down. So Tom Sizemore was in Black Hawk Down. May he rest in peace. You know, your character's name was Sizemore. Y'all ever have any funny moments on set over that?
Oh, we had quite a few moments. We had quite a few moments. Yeah. Tom, you know, it was amazing because there was another link because he actually dated my old manager.
Really?
So my manager at the time was his ex-girlfriend. So that was kind of very strange. But you know, Tom, I got tales about Tom that I can't really share on here. But you know,
Thank you,
Tom,
Jonas. I say keep it Rambo. And the first question he asked is Black Hawk
I
Down.
told you I had Black Hawk Down.
I
question.
said, I was like, Matthew promised he would come back for Black Hawk Down talk.
I'll
And I
come
was
back.
like, all right, cool.
And by the way, I was the one that had the training question, sir. I'm glad you
And
think
before,
that.
oh, okay.
all
Sorry
right,
about
all
that.
right.
I have
Sorry
a
about that.
question when we get to it. Or can I ask my question? Like, were you able to get
Sure, you
anything
can ask
as a
your
memento?
question.
I know. Like,
Can I ask my question?
Kevin.
All right,
Yeah,
on
but
Resident
anyway,
Evil
Can I ask my
Extinction,
questions? I'm not even going to pause to take a breath.
Shout
Go
out
ahead.
Dan Vasque. Thanks for the training.
on Revenge of the Fallen. No,
Yeah.
Oh my
No. Were you?
I've
were
got a
you
story
able
about
to
that as
do
well,
it?
but-
hold on. I need to ask him a question about Anaconda. How was that snake? When you got eaten by the snake in Anaconda? How? Anyway, all right. Well, that's another movie we can have him back on. So anyway, all right. Go ahead,
Were
Sebi.
you-
I'm sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
you. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Were you able to get like a memento from the movie set? I know usually actors do. You don't have to say what it is, but if you can, I would love to hear it.
I do actually.
Did you
So-
steal something, Matthew, from the set?
Hold on, I'm gonna get
Hilarious.
Sly out of his box over it. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, what actually happened was this has happened on a few of the movies that I've done. It's been my birthday while we were filming. And so what I have, and I should have brought it up actually, I've got it somewhere here. But they went out, the cast got a really like cheap tie t-shirt that had all these different like G.I. Joe characters on it. And so they just picked one for each of the cast members and wrote their name on it and signed it for me. And there was Sly and all different ones on it. So that's my memento for it. I should really put it up. I haven't put it up, but it's a t-shirt with that everybody signed. But I didn't. Here's the thing: I didn't take any of the gear, like the hat or anything like that, which is kind of iconic, because we were going to do another one. And so when you're going to do another one, they keep all the gear. So and I was meant to get a rifle, which I didn't get. But anyway, that's
Oh, that's a bummer.
That's pretty cool.
And shout
Oh my
out to
gosh.
Dan Vasca, famous Brazilian singer.
Yeah.
Shocking.
we love
he showed up-
Dan.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to say like I didn't really know him, but yeah. He's like, thanks for bringing on Matthew. One of my favorite action movies of all time. I own it on Blu-ray, DVD, and VHS. Look at that.
Nice.
Heck
He
yeah.
owns it on everything.
Reminds
They're
him of
just now
home.
getting a streaming service in Brazil, so maybe he'll get it on streaming. Mo, you had a question, guys? Just Mike, you guys just jump in whenever.
All
Well,
right.
he'd already covered it a few times, but this is from one of the supporters of your YouTube channel, who I'm a big fan of myself, Tomby. He wanted to know if, since he's a British vet, he wanted to know if you actually did specific sniper training with the British Army or whatever regiment you were with.
No, I didn't. Not for that. What was really interesting, because throughout my career, like it's been very strange, because when I finished doing Black Hawk Down, you kind of gravitate towards the people that you work with, right? So I'd get offers by the Army Rangers and Delta guys, hey, do you want to come train? So I'd go train with them. And so for the longest time, I'd just go and bounce around all the different units in the American Army, but not the British, because I didn't have any connection to them. But what was really interesting, so when we all got out there, everyone had to do training with the Thai Special Forces, and none of the other guys had done any training. And so I get there, and of course, I've got the Barrett, so I'm not going to be doing any running and gunning or anything like that. So I kind of said to Ken, who was the prop master, I was like, can I come in and do the training? And he was like, yeah, it's fine. And so I got, I picked all the weapons that I wanted, and I started training, and the Thai instructors came over and pulled me off, and they went, who trained you? And I'm like,
Whoa,
that is one of the
okay.
biggest, that's one of the biggest compliments you could have,
huge.
right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
they went, go over there, you're shooting, you're a sniper, you don't need to train. So I went off and I was like,
Wow.
so
That's
yeah,
awesome.
but we train with the Thai Special Forces a little bit. The other guys more, because they had less experience than me. So I was dialed in, for movies anyway. So and like I said, here's one thing about the movie that I get so much crap about is, the scene where we go in, and it's one of those things, honestly, it's like where you go, I can't believe I'm actually in this, right? Like the scene where we go in to rescue the missionaries, and I have to go up the tower and kill the guy. So there's a couple of trivia things there. That is a CG knife, because I had a Fairbairn Sykes dagger, because that's the dagger that the SAS use, and they CGI'd the Rambo knife.
Oh, did they really?
Oh, so that's a little Easter egg.
Yeah.
Was that for the sequel? Is that why they were doing that? Were they prepping for that?
Yeah. Yeah. And so there's a lot of nods in it, because, and also don't forget, if you're a Royal Marine Commando, you're a Green Beret. So you have the Green Beret. That's where the original Green Berets come from, is the Royal Marine Commandos. But when I was up on the last scene I did in the entire movie was that going up and killing the guy from behind. And we were flying out the next day and they couldn't go over at all. So they were like, Marsden, you're done. I'm like, but I've got to do the shot where I pull the trigger. And they were like, no, you've got to go, because whatever, union rules or whatever. So I leave, and my buddy Brian Orley, I was telling you about before, comes in, and it's his finger, not my finger, pulling the trigger. And he slaps the trigger, which you never do. You never ever meant to do that. And I'm like, oh, you're joking, dude. All the snipers go, oh, slappy trigger. And I'm like, wasn't me.
Wasn't
Yeah,
me.
so even way out in Burma, they had people on the set saying, you got to stop working. You can't do this. You can't do that. And then would like Sylvester Stallone would that aggravate him? Or it's just like, that's just the rules. We just gotta follow them pretty much.
Yes and yes. I think it aggravates him. I mean, listen, this is a guy, no joke. I'm there one day when, because we built all that, all the camp was built and it was massive. And we had these huge rain machines going. And I remember he was saying, hey, listen, I need to move the pigs around for the shot. The pigs, they're eating the legs of the guy that's down there.
Thanks. Yeah.
He jumps down into the pig poo and moves the pig himself. And it's like, and I'm like, that is awesome. That is a guy that has, I think Sly for the longest time, became the biggest star in the world. And then for like 10 years, he was, in the wilderness. And then he came back with Rocky and Rambo. And he was just all about the work. He didn't care. There was no airs and graces. And I love that about him.
And so he's like pretty humble then. He just didn't mind getting his hands dirty. And I'm sure you guys had some, there had to have been some heated discussions about certain things every now and then. Or no?
Not really. I had
a
one
great time in Burma. Like y'all just had a great time.
Listen, you're a dude. You're in Rambo, and Rambo's directing you. I mean,
what are you gonna complain about?
Well said.
So no, but there was one thing that I had with Sly. I'll tell you two stories about it. He goes, I went up to him, and it was. And for obvious reasons, I might curse and say swear words, but I'll never say JC or GD ever in anything that I ever do. I won't do it.
Yeah.
And so in the script, it said GD it. Now, Brits don't say that anyway. So I'll go up to him and I'm like, hey, Sly, Brits don't say GD. So, and he goes, it's just a suggestion. And I went, but I'm just saying because Brits don't like that. And he goes, it's just a suggestion. I was like, all right, are you going to give me another suggestion or do I just go and do it myself? Because he wrote the script, right? Yeah. So I'm like, I don't want to change it. And so that was a bit of a moment. And here's another moment for you that is really funny. It wasn't funny at the time. So we're on the boat. And he gives me the line, my name's Schoolboy. My mates won't stop calling me that no matter how many people I shoot, right? And he gives me that line, or no, how many people I kill. And he gives me the line, I'm like, how am I going to make that, good? That's kind of an awkward line. You know what I mean? It's because especially with those guys don't talk about things like that. And I'm like, all right. And he goes, all right. And so he's at the back, and he's got the camera next to him. And I go, hey, my name's Schoolboy. And I deliver the line. And he goes, any more ham and we'd have a sandwich. Do it again. I went, oh, no. And I just go, oh, that's just the worst.
I just hear his voice when you say that, too.
Yeah, I
can't
do an impression of him, but he has got that thunderous voice. And so anyway, cut to 6 months later, I'm going into ADR, and obviously, you're in a boat that's going, meh, so you got to do ADR. And I walk in, and it's that scene. And he's there, and I go, hey, do you remember what you said to me here? And he went, what? And I said, you said any more ham, and I'd have a sandwich. and he starts laughing. He goes, "Hey, I've made more sandwiches than anyone in Hollywood." Respect, right?
Man, I love
Yeah.
that.
So great.
Was there a time where, and Michael, I'll get you next, Mike.
Yeah.
And Blaine, anybody else? Was there? I like stories like this, like where you have to be like really serious and like you're killing people, but you guys just start laughing because somebody slipped in the mud or something like that. Was there anything that stood out, like something like that, or was it just pretty much, let's just get this thing done?
No, I mean we again. I think everyone was really enjoying being there and doing it. There was one point, poor Julie Benz. So I grabbed Julie, and we're running along the ridge, and she falls over, and you can see it in the movie, right? She falls over, and I like come to a stop like that, just as her mouth is open, and her mouth just gets a ton of Thai dirt in it, like,
Nice.
like that. And she's like,
Oh no!
and you can see it in the film, and she's like, "Thanks, Matt," and I'm like, "I'm sorry," but and then we had another incident. We had another incident where we were doing second unit because, like, when they're walking through the jungle, like a lot of times we go and do second unit for stuff like that, like hobbits walking through the jungle. And we're with a stunt guy called Noon. He's like a legend in the stunt industry. And we're walking along, and then this giant snake like comes across the path. And we're in we are in the jungle, right?
Wait, was this before or after Anaconda?
This was after Anaconda.
Yes, did you have Anaconda? Did you have like an Anaconda freak out when you saw a big? All right, continue. Sorry.
No, I was like, you ain't seen nothing. It goes this snake, and it's big, and we turn around because we had the Thai special operations guys there, and we were like, "Jim, what snake is that?" And they said it's a cobra. And we were like, how far? And this is Noon. The stunt guy goes, "How far are we from the nearest hospital?" And they were like 30 minutes. And he was like, cut. We're done. Because if we'd have got bitten, we wouldn't have survived getting to the hospital. So,
wow.
So and fair play. I mean, this is where you work with really great stunt guys. We had an ambulance on set from then on. Because you don't really think about it often, because not every day you're working in the middle of the jungle and you're coming across giant, apart from if you're me, and you come across giant snakes all the time. But yeah, that happened, which was kind of crazy.
Would you have felt safer on the set if Sly was there? Because he would have got the cobra and
he would have got it. He would have wrestled it.
I got this, Matthew. Don't worry, I got it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Mike, you had a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering. So, like, for you, obviously you worked with a lot of different directors and stuff. Do you find it's different or easier to work with a director that's also doing acting at the same time? Like, because obviously Stallone's kind of a pro at both, and like you said, he's a great writer too. So he's kind of got all complete creative control in that moment. But yeah, is it easier to kind of communicate with him about what he wants and what you want to do and what you're trying to do in that moment?
It's a really brilliant question because he did something that I've never experienced before. And so I get there and we pull our gear on. And I'd actually, against another little bit of trivia, because they thought that I was going to be this tech savvy, scalpel, they were going to dress me in digital camo. If you remember back then when digital camo was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I said, there's no way I'd wear digital camo as a British soldier. So they had to dye all my clothes and dye the bag. If you look at the bag that I'm wearing, it's black. So they had to dye it all. And I get there and Sly goes, take that off, take that off, take that off. You'll die in the jungle with that on. Like he cared.
Wow.
He cared of the amount of gear that I was carrying.
That's awesome.
So, and a director wouldn't normally think of that. He's an actor and he knows. The other thing he said to me though, that was that is funny, is because I'd trained, to move a certain way, especially in like CQB, and the way that those guys move is very specific. And so I'm moving, keeping my head down because I'm tall, right? I'm 6'3". So I'm keeping my head down. And he goes, "What are you doing?" And I went, "Trying not to get my head blown off." He goes, stand up straight. It's a movie. And I was like, okay, like I'm gonna. So I ran it. That's why I'm running like straight up like that. Before I was running like this. He's like, stand up, it's a movie, and I'm like, I'm listening to the greatest action star of all time. I think I'll take his lead on that.
That's awesome.
Can I ask you what's can you compare Sylvester Stallone's directorial style to say like Michael Bay? And I mean that like I know like Michael Bay gets a lot of like flack for things that are completely just like he made that movie, he made the Transformers movies and they made a ton of money, so it was like easy to like take a dump on Michael Bay. But I think he's actually very talented as a director. So I actually do mean the question seriously. Like, you know, you're working on something that is a passion project from, you know, Sylvester Stallone, who's a legend. And then there's also stuff that's more on the side that, and I don't mean this as an insult, is also meant to market a toy brand at the same time. Yeah. I mean, Rambo did have its cartoon series, so I'm not ignoring that. But what's the difference there from your perspective?
Well, I will say this as well, that because I was on Transformers 2 for 6 months and they actually messed up my credit on that. So if you look on the special features, it's actually got my character name on it. When there's a movie that big, yeah. I mean, my name is Captain Graham in the film, and they messed it up. They called me like SAS number 1, which is like second spear carrier on the right in Coriolanus, you know. And I was like, oh, come on. But let me tell you about Bay. Like, I love The Rock. I think The Rock is an unbelievable movie. I love 13 Hours. I think it's fantastic. Bay, the difference is like Bay's like Ridley Scott in a way that Ridley expects you to turn up and do your job. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you're meant to be prepared. And what he loved about me was that I did what I was told. You know, I didn't ask questions. He was like, okay, Matt, this is what you're going to do. Ridley's like this. He comes up and he goes, all right, Matt, this is what's going to happen, okay? You're going to run down there. Okay, there's going to be an explosion. Boom. And then you're going to turn the corner. Okay, right. Okay, Terry. And then they go, shoot. And he'd be like, what? That's why Black Hawk Down looks so real. Mm-hmm. And Bay's like that. Bay will go, all right, Matt, you're going to be in a helicopter. You're going to go up and down. And then you're going to run out and do what you do. All right? Yeah, okay. And he's orchestrating these massive set pieces, and if you look, you can't really see it when if you watch the film, but there's a bit in Revenge of the Fallen where I think it's Devastator like hits the helicopter and it spins down. So I'll tell you guys a quick story about that, just to tell you the difference. I mean, Sly he does the big action stuff, but he's also character driven. You know what I mean? Like he wants to get the character right because he's a writer. Whereas Bay's like big picture, and the pressure on that guy is unbelievable. Like when you go on one of those sets. So we were on set one day, by the way, on Revenge of the Fallen, and we're like, where's Mike? Like, where is he? What's he doing? And then the G5 comes in with the Decepticon logo on the tail, and he gets off. He's sipping his like latte. All right, let's go. And I'm like, shit, he was in Pacific Palisades this morning, and we've been on set all day. But he's such a he like conducts the orchestra. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's such a big thing with him, and he's dealing with so many different moving parts that I just think they're different. But Mike it's hard when someone's waving hundreds of millions of dollars at you for doing something to say, hang on a second, no, I'm going to go and do my passion project, which, by the way, there's not another director on the planet that could have got 13 hours done. Right. In running up to the election, and it's about Benghazi, unbelievable. But I'm trying to think so the scene with the helicopter. So this is what happened, right? So we're there, and so I'm looking at the helicopter, and I'm thinking this is a giant scene, right? Because it's funny because it's going around now on Instagram. Look how big this scene is, and it's like that in a movie. So we've got the helicopter on this. It's like a big cable, a big steel cable, And I'd say in all the movies I've done, the stunt guys are second to none. They're amazing. And so I have ultimate confidence in them. But for some reason that day, I was like, I'm going to watch this. So what they were doing is they let the helicopter come down on the line, and they explode the top of a palm tree. And then later on, what they're going to do is put the rotors in. So it looks like it's coming down and went, and it took the rotors off. But so there's me, there's Josh. So I'm in the middle of this, like, it's like a gate where the wall was. And then Tyrese is like, I'm not anywhere near that, right? Because Tyrese does not like that stuff. He's really funny. He's like, man, I'm not doing it. So I'm there and I'm watching, and they say, what we're going to do is we're going to say background action, and you're going to run, right? So background action, rolling, and they're going to, I've got to get this the right way around. They're going to say rolling, then they're going to say background action. They're going to let the helicopter go, then action, we move, right? So it looks like everyone's moving at the same time. So they said, but keep an eye on it, right, just in case. So I was like, all right. And so
just in case.
Just in case. I mean, things happen, right?
Right.
So I'm looking at it, and they go, rolling, and it goes, poof, and they let it go. And I go, oh, shit. And I turn like that, and look, and Josh is like, right? And I'm like, oh, and I turn back, and it's coming down. And I'm like, oh, no. Now, the thing to do would be to run under it, but you just don't think of it at that time. Like, I'm not going to run towards the helicopter coming down at me. So I turn around, and my M4 gets hit into the wall. It smacks me in the mouth, shears my tooth off.
Wow.
Yeah, just like that. And I run. And if you look at the clips, because they've got some behind the scenes now, you see it just misses me. And I remember like going, I stopped because there's just sand everywhere. You couldn't see anything. And I'm standing there, and Nick Tito, who's the SEAL Team 6 guy who was one of the tech advisors on the movie, starts walking over to me, and he goes like that. And I'm like, oh no, because we couldn't move because we're at White Sands, New Mexico. And if you went over the barriers that we had, there was unexploded ordnance. So it was very dangerous to move out of the area that had been cleared. Yeah. And so, and Bay's like, that was awesome. Like, like totally hyped up. And I'm like, I can see it now. It's my close up. I'm going to be running all sexy with my gun, smack in the mouth. I'm going to get my slow motion Michael Bay shot, and it's over in a second.
Yeah.
If you watch it, it's over in a second. But I've got a picture of it because there was an on-set photographer, and I'll show it to you, Jay. I'll take a picture, send it to you. The helicopter's here above me, and it's a real shot. It's a real live shot they took. I don't know how I missed it, but and in the movie, it's over in an instant. But it was a massive set piece.
I'm trying to understand how New Mexico is like less safe than Myanmar, but I'm just, that's just, I don't know where I'd rather be. It's kind of,
Yeah, they bury the landmines there instead of throwing them into the rice paddies.
Right.
I actually have a question.
Yeah, go
So
for it.
we've kind of been talking about a lot of the physical stuff, but I want to know about like the mentality that you go into with your characters, especially like with the movie like Rambo. Is there something specific that you do to prepare for your character? Like, do you kind of outline like he would have these kinds of quirks, or he would have gone through these kinds of things like in his life that are going to kind of, guide you to get into that headspace whenever you're on set? So I just want to know about that.
It's a great question. Yeah, no, I do. I mean, in an ideal world, you have all the time in the world to do those things. I think that in reality, sometimes as an actor, you kind of get the core of the character, who he is, you build that character up. I really studied Stanislavski back in the day. So I'd put my dog actually got out of his crate right now and just walked into the room.
That's okay. Not one of your children, is it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I put them under the stairs like Harry Potter.
Smart.
That's the right way to do it.
Puppy patter.
Yeah. It's
So,
like Mike keeps everybody in the basement. So
Yeah, like how did you get out? Yeah,
Be careful.
So anyway, no. So I do put the character together. So what I'll do when I get the screenplay is I'll look at it like a treasure map, and try and figure out why someone would say something, and try and get in the head of the writer. And a lot of actors don't do that. Actually, what they'll do is they'll come in and they'll say, "Well, I have an idea of how the character should be. I'm going to bend the script to me." And I just don't think that's the way it's meant to be. You're meant to participate, in the artistic process. And so I'll put the character together and then go on set. But sometimes, if they say, "Hey, listen, we've got to pick up this shot," it's all out the window. You just got to do the physicality in that moment. And, like a classic example is when we were doing Revenge of the Fallen. And there's the opening scene where we're in China. Well, that was actually in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And they hadn't lit up that steel mill in 30 years. So it was a very emotional moment for the people in that area who'd been at like a depressed area. And we turned up there, and Harry Humphreys said to me, he goes, "Hey, Matt, listen, sort out the groups to go in the birds, in the helicopter." And I was like, and I'm there with all real guys, right? Which is kind of, and I'm like, "Hey guys," because in the special operations community, they'll like figure it out themselves. So I thought I'll do the same thing. I'll pass it on to one of the guys who's a real Navy SEAL, and he'll sort it out. Well, they started bickering, not them, but there was some SWAT guys there. And Harry Humphreys then just walked up. He went, "Matt, get in the bird." And I was like, "Okay." So I'd never been in a Black Hawk, actually. I've been on the side of a little bird, but I've never been in a Black Hawk.
Wow.
And so you have to like adjust immediately. Like there's no getting into character. You get in the helicopter and you're flying around, and it is surreal, right? When you're in a helicopter like that. And I was looking out, and there was it's actually not in the film, but we had 2 Apache gunships on either side of us. And I'm like, this is the coolest thing in the world ever, because we've got the doors open and we're flying around. And Jeff Reeves, who's since gone on to be a really talented race car driver, he like turns around, he goes, "Hey, Matt." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Just so you know, this never gets old." And I'm like, good, because I'm geeking out right now. It was really amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So in answer to your question, sorry. Yes, you build the character, but also it's sometimes you just got to act. Sometimes you just got to be there and do it and say the lines, because there's so much pressure on you, and it might be like one shot. So you don't always need it. You don't always need that depth. So, I mean, I've been fortunate to be able to do it on these big movies, but you can't always do that.
Real quick before we continue, time is still good. Okay, I just want to be. We do have a couple people in the chat that ask a question. JB Spooky Review says, "Loved you in Rambo, but the real question is, when can we expect Tamara 2? I've been eagerly waiting for 20 years."
Yes. So that movie was it was written by Jeffrey Riddick, who wrote the Final Destination movies. And it's funny because I'll get this call and they're like, "Hey, they want you to do this movie. It's in Winnipeg." And I was like, Jeremy, who was the director, was a friend of mine. So I was like, okay. And I get there, and the girl playing the lead, I walk in and she's just drop dead gorgeous. And it was Jenna Dewan, and it was her first ever film. So I got to, like kind of take her through the process a little bit. And then I saw her years later. Of course, she marries Channing Tatum and becomes like really famous.
Yeah.
Loser. But she was like super sweet. She was super sweet, and it was a lot of fun. That movie was actually.
We got another question from Caveat Ties. Did I say that
Caveat
right?
Ties.
Caveat Ties.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, he was the one impersonating your cousin in my DMs, trying to convince me that he was related to you. So,
Always a good time. Man.
Yeah.
Matt, how does filming Rambo compare to Black Hawk Down?
Wow. I mean, it was kind of similar. As I said earlier, there's a lot of practical effects, which I love, right? I mean, there's a bit of CGI that hasn't actually aged very well on Rambo. But Black Hawk Down was an extraordinary movie, and I feel like I was really spoiled, because that was, it's one of the greatest war movies of all time, and to come into Hollywood with your first film and do that was really humbling. And we had, I mean, if you look at that cast, it's insane, and it shows you the trajectory of all the guys. At the time, they were trying to get the best guys in the world to be in that film, and they got the majority of them. But it was, Black Hawk Down was very intense, and Rambo was very intense. I was, because in the film I'm at the top when the last battle happens. I wasn't in the middle of it like the other guys were. My stuff was like shot to the side. So I got to observe it a little bit more, you know what I mean? And it's like in Black Hawk Down, do you remember the part where the helicopters come in for the first time and they drop the fast rope and they come in? I was there watching it.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And that was unbelievable to be there, to see something like that, like something so huge. And we still had a very similar camaraderie. All the guys on Black Hawk Down, if we saw each other now, we'd give each other a hug, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really great. So it was intense, but same, but kind of different. You know what I mean? Very similar.
Yeah. What's scarier for you as an actor, like reading a script and memorizing your lines, or like the physical stunts that you guys have to do? Because obviously you've done a lot of action films, so you've got a lot of experience. I'm sure from, don't do anything crazy and just let the stunt guys handle it, to we kind of need you to get in there and do a little bit. But like, do you have a preference? Would you rather read a script, learn lines, and let stunt guys handle it? Or do you like getting involved and like being able to be physical? And yeah.
I love it. I love getting physical. I mean, I think because I always feel so privileged that I've got the job, and that I'm actually doing something I love. I feel like it's an opportunity that, not many people get to have. It's different now. I just had neck surgery. Actually, I've got 2 replacement discs in my neck.
Ooh, yeah.
So that's going to probably limit my it's going to limit my stunts a little bit. But yeah, I mean, who gets to fly on the outside of a little bird?
That's true.
I've been trained by the best people in the world. When I did Helen of Troy, I was just saying this today. Actually, you look back and you're like, hang on a minute. They taught me how to bareback horse ride. They taught me how to use a sword. They've taught me how to use a bow and arrow. You go through all these things, and you're really privileged to be able to do those things. The one thing that was really difficult for me, I will tell you this, when we did Anacondas, it was funny because, the scene where I get eaten in that, they'd set up this whole stunt thing, and I have a bad lower back through injury, like a bunch of injuries. And they were like, okay, we're going to do this scene now. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, I won't be able to walk the next day. And so what it was is the snake hits me from the back, and then they pull me back at the front, I think it was, or the other way around. Mm-hmm. And that was one of them that I didn't want to do it because I thought it would injure me. Just the action of going like this, being pushed forward and back. But I did it in the end. And what was really cool about it is they have these like bungees that just like yank you back, and it's kind of cool, So and with Tamara, by the way, I got to jump off, I think it was a 3rd-story building into a bunch of cardboard boxes, which it's not. Well, I was like, a bunch of cardboard boxes. Really?
Something under it?
I'm like, really?
Right, that's the system.
So I did it though. So I look back, and I'm an old man now, but I really enjoyed doing those things back in the day.
So
that's awesome.
I'm gonna bring up something. I hope you don't get upset with me.
Run!
Said we're not going to talk about porn.
It just never starts.
Well, as long as he's not scheduling,
Oh no.
He's like,
I need to know, because many people, they don't know this about Matthew, but he actually was a singer before he was an actor, and he sang with Destiny's Child. I mean, look at this guy right here. Like,
what?
All the ladies are screaming.
Look at that.
Listen to that scream and that smile when the ladies just Like, does your kids ever find this stuff and go, "Dad, you're so embarrassing"? Like,
Yeah,
what you sang with
what they do.
Beyonce? You sang with Beyonce, Dad? Like, what are you doing? You know, like, look at this guy. Like, he was a.
Look at
You
that.
guys know, you guys. I think everybody on this panel probably have heard this song one time in their life. So
That
she's
girl,
gone,
if she
featuring
keeps at
Destiny
it,
Child.
if she keeps at it, that Beyonce, she'll be a star one day.
That's something else, man.
How was
had no
that?
idea.
Like being a singer with Destiny Child and like having like going on tour. I know it's a little different than acting, right? It's more of a grind than it is.
No, I love it all. I mean, look, like I said, I mean, I've been so blessed to do what I love. And, you know, if you'd have gone back to like 8-year-old me and said, hey, listen, you know, you'd be going across Europe singing and then going to America and becoming a citizen and being in a movie with Stallone and Ridley Scott and all that. I mean, it's really wild. But I think that, so basically the reason why I was a singer was it was just out of necessity because, you know, when you're coming through the ranks as an actor in the UK, there's a filter system, right? Like you have to get on the ladder, you have to pay your dues, you got to go through theater, you got to do this. And so I just wanted to maximize my earning potential so I could do musicals. So I couldn't afford it when I was younger. So when I got old enough, I paid my own way to have singing classes. As it turns out, I was pretty good. And actually what happened was I was on the biggest show on British television, a show called Coronation Street.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. I mean, my life. So think about this, guys. When I was on that show, 19 million people watched it.
Dang, that's a lot.
So, you know, it's kind of funny having like that like massive fame over there that you can't walk down the streets. And I didn't like it, actually. I wasn't prepared for it. But then, of course, you know, not being prepared for it, I went and I had 2 singles that were in the charts. So I left the show. And then, oddly enough, I was going to sign with Simon Cowell. I knew Simon Cowell for many years, actually, but I didn't end up signing with him. And so I took a couple of years, did the music. And then I came back and I did the music industry was in a real state of flux then, because you guys are too young to remember this, but it was turning digital. And so everyone was like, I don't know what's going on with digital. How are we going to do this? So we're going to have stores where you walk in and plug your USB in and download. You know, I mean, that was a real conversation back then. And so it was very, very uncertain around the millennium. And so I decided I wanted to go back to films. And so I went and did a movie with Michael Caine. And that was it.
And they never called you to do another album or... I mean, look at these comments, man. These are awesome. Look at you there singing. Seriously underrated singer. He's made it big in the U.S. You know, he's so beautiful. I love this song. You did great. I love you, Matthew. I mean, it just doesn't stop, man. Like, I'm actually a little jealous, you know, but I mean, that's all right. I don't get those type of comments on my YouTube videos.
No.
So,
Maybe you need to learn to sing and then get those comments.
Mo up here, he's like 85 years old, so he probably
he knows.
He's 85.
Thank you. I
He
appreciate it.
remembers when they invented record players. He was like, "Oh,
He does. We found
Doesn't
out
ever
he
catch on
He's
though."
50. Yeah,
He was on
looks
the
like he's
organ
50.
I own a floppy disk.
Guys,
That radio thing will never catch
my
on.
God.
Nobody's gonna be listening to that.
He's like looking into the radio, like, is there a man in there?
Yeah, just about 10 years younger than that. That's about where I'm at. Yeah.
Exactly. The question is, who do we have to butter up to get you on Tulsa King to get you back with Sly? I mean, that's the real question here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's weird because hopefully there's gonna be a change. But as you know, there's no tolerance for people that are in any way, shape, or form conservative in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it's really sad because the barriers to entry really are the casting directors. And so if you don't get work, if you're not hot, then you just don't get seen, you get forgotten. And a lot of people go, well, you know, I've made enough money, I'm going to go retire. I don't want to do it anymore. But, you know, it's funny because someone actually just said that to me like about 2 days ago, like, you got to get on Tulsa King.
Right.
I'm like, well, you know, the difficulty is getting in the room now. because if you don't get the access, and if I have a manager still, and I've got an agent in the UK, but it's one of those things where if you're not hot, like they're like, okay, why do we want him? You know what I'm saying? It's very
But I mean, they reached out for you for Reacher. You were in Reacher.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, so
Yeah.
it
That's the
isn't
same
like
wheelhouse.
people don't see you, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was actually going to be one of my questions, though. Actually, for you is yeah. What do you feel like? You know, obviously, we've seen kind of a little bit of a resurgence now with like more conservative media and people shying away from these more conservative characters and ideas and stuff. Do you think that the landscape is changing? You think that door might open again? Do you think that there's an avenue for that? Maybe, I don't know, you know, maybe not as big, these bigger studios, but smaller studios and stuff like that. I mean, I'm just curious if you think that you see the landscape changing at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so. The problem is that there's a lot of people that are outside the industry. So there's very few people that come out of the studio system, right? For obvious reasons, because it pays so much money. It's not like when I first came to America, if you're in the studio system, you were desperate to go and do an indie movie because you knew indie movies give you credibility. You know, you can show what you can do. You go and you do some quirky oddball film and get the awards. But then, you know, you can't get back in now. If you're doing like indie movies, unless something really breaks, nobody's really going to take you back into that fault. That's why they keep, you know, recycling the same people over and over again. And the difficulty is that there are people like me, and I'm just going to be honest about it, the people like me that have been in the studio system and then outside of this is the studio system, and we know the way it works. And there's a bunch of people that say that they really want to do conservative, and I don't even want to say conservative content. I mean, just like good stuff. But they don't
messaging stuff,
Right.
political messaging stuff, right?
Yeah, just make a good movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Make a good movie.
But the problem is they don't want to hear from old farts like me who are going to say, "Hey, listen, you probably shouldn't do it that way." And it's a very, very strange situation to be in, because they want success, but they're not coming to the people who have done it on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
So it's a problem. And I'll tell you this, guys. This is where we go wrong. And I'll tell you right now, somebody needs to write a check and say, I don't care if I'm getting my money back.
Yep.
Right.
It has to be done, because as you guys know, I mean, I'm talking to people who know their stuff, right? So this will resonate with you. If I got a movie today, and I've actually got one with an A-list director, the first thing the investor says is, "What's my ROI?" And I'll go, "Okay, well, I've got to go and get an actor."
What does that mean? What does that mean? I'm sorry.
Return on investment.
The return on investment.
So what's your cash ROI?
YouTuber.
Well, yeah. So to get an ROI, I've got to go and get a Hollywood actor that has monetary value, and look and say, well, if I'm going to pay him like $2 million, he's got to be worth like $6 million to me in revenue, from whether it's domestic distribution or a combination of both. And so then what you're going into now is you got the same barriers to entry. They're going to stop you at the agent level. You're never going to get to the actor. If you do get to the actor and goes, yeah, I'm going to come and do it, then they're going to start fiddling with the script. A lot of the time they start taking it away from what it's meant to be. And then you have to roll the dice with them killing your movie when you do PR. So what we need to do now, because I'll say you youngsters out there, like I'm the last generation that actually was in non-woke movies. Like think about that. That's
right.
This is, I'm pre-woke, right? And now you guys, even people that are 10 years younger than me, don't have the opportunity, and it's criminal. And so nobody's allowing that to happen. And the way to do it is to say, I'm just going to make great films. I'm going to put them out. And in the next generation, we're going to have more kids coming in. Because if my kids came in and said, I want to go to Hollywood, I'd be like, over my dead body, you're not doing it. No way. You're not being, I've got to watch what I say, right? But you got to, I'm not letting
That's
you
a lot of
around
people
the-
to say no to.
Right.
and look, I get stuff all the time, and the stuff that I get, I can't do morally. It's like, it's so, in answer to your question, in a way, they're just doubling down, man. They are still coming out with this stuff. They're still writing it. They're still because if you're a Disney, you got the theme parks and IP forever to just continually fund your messaging. And we don't understand this. Like, what's the ROI on the Pietà? What's the ROI on St. Peter's Basilica? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we don't look at art and this is, I truly believe this, guys. Sorry, I get on my soapbox a bit. But,
you're good.
But we look at movies like Rambo because they make you feel something.
Yeah.
Right. You feel like the good guys are winning, right? Like that's evil. They're beating them and it's bloody and everything. But for men, and for women look and they go, well, that's a real man. I can't get that anymore. Right. I'm trying to find them. And dudes are like, that's who I want to be. And the majority of movies that we see, they're just not inspiring. So what you have is a society right now that's really struggling for hope, and they've got nothing to inspire them. They've got no Rocky to go out and go, do you know what? We might be in a rough time right now, but this is America and we can come back. We can make something of ourselves. And we just don't have that anymore. And the conservatives, especially the conservatives, because they're the only ones that are going to do it, they look at every single thing like a real estate deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the business, not the creative.
Yeah, I'm 100% there. Like, I mean, then this is not to disparage, Christians or the church, but like, there's a ton of money in the church, and a lot of them are too scared to make movies because they don't know how they're going to monetize it, or how can we make a package out of this to sell things to people or whatever, and like you said, like, I mean, an artist goes, I want to make something really cool. I don't really care how much it costs. I just want to make it. And a lot of people aren't willing to give artists that money to do that kind of stuff too.
Disney also doesn't really make any money off of those movies.
Right. Yeah.
No,
Sorry.
but I think,
I'm sorry, I'm going to be a geek and brag about Valiant for a second. He found in their financial filings, they actually spent more money marketing movies at the box office in 2025 than they made at the box office in 2025. Yeah. So even in the end, it's like, if you could just make one thing that lasts somewhere in all of this mess of just plopping $250 million on a movie and then spending more than that to try to market it, like, just one. Give us a Top Gun Maverick in there. Like Top Gun Maverick is a great film regardless of if it made $800 million at the domestic or not. It's just a great movie. And it's about, it's about fatherhood, it's about legacy. And it's also makes the military look freaking cool. These are the things that they fight at a lot of the big studios. I have some hope for Paramount and Skydance, over the next few years. But outside of that, it just seems like so much is like franchise slop and IP. And there's this Moana trailer that just came out it literally looks like they said they went to Perplexity or Sora or whichever one it is right now and said, make live action Moana, and then just hit
Jonas,
post.
Matthew is correct. It's they have the theme parks and the cruise ships that can fund bad movies.
Oh yeah,
constantly.
absolutely. Yeah, forever.
Which brings me to a crazy question: why is Pedro Pascal in everything?
I don't know.
I'm convinced he's generative AI.
We all have Pedro Pascal fatigue. I'm sorry, we do. It's like he's in everything. Every movie that comes out, and he's still going to be in everything. He's coming out in Mando next year. He's going to be in MCU next year. He's going to be in like everything, and it's like.
Let me ask you this though. This is the difference. If Daniel Day-Lewis was in everything, I wouldn't mind, because he's brilliant in everything.
Yeah, right.
I don't get it. Like, and again, I'm not being a little, I can't say it on it. I'm not being, I'm not jealous in any way, shape, or form, or envious at all, because I think that there are some actors that you just can't stop watching, right? And they're really great. Gary Oldman. I mean, those are the two ones for me. I think Gary Oldman and Daniel Day-Lewis are just on a different planet to everybody else. But I think that you wouldn't mind if you were seeing them in everything. I haven't seen him do anything recently that's any good.
Well, nobody says, why is Samuel L. Jackson in this? No one has ever said
Right.
that.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I was like, oh man, another Denzel movie. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Right.
I think there was one year when there was like 4 Bruce Willis movies at the box office
No one
in
cared.
like a 3-month span, and nobody said anything.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it was just good. It's the audience really hates being told that you have to like something. And that feels like that's mostly what Hollywood is doing at this point. They're putting something out there and saying, we are going to punish you if you don't enjoy the slop that we're serving you.
Well, can I'll just give you another insight on that as well, because I've been in the room when this has happened. So I don't want to say which actor it was, but there was an actor when I was very first in Hollywood. I always admired him. I thought he was a really good actor, and I wondered why he hadn't done more. I mean, it's like anything. You see someone and you're like, oh, he's good, right? If you play golf, you see another person playing golf, you really know. And even if they might not be doing well at that moment, you see flashes. And I had this script that Ken Nolan wrote for me, the guy who wrote Black Hawk Down. It's an amazing script. I eventually got Christian Bale attached to it and Eric Bana attached to it. But I was going for this one actor, and I called up my agent. It was the same agent. And I said, hey, I really want this person for the movie. I've got to be really careful now. I say, but he goes, oh no, he only works with the top 10 directors or top 5 directors in Hollywood. And I went, but what about this movie? He just flopped. And he went, oh yeah, but that was blah, blah, blah's fault. And it was an Oscar winning director. And I went,
Oh,
what about blah, blah, blah? And he went, oh, that's so-and-so and so-and-so's fault. And it was an Oscar winning actress.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized something. They can't be wrong. They cannot be wrong. It's everybody else's fault. And that this actor eventually, 5 years later, got an Oscar nomination. And so they were just pushing it. Now, to me, I'd go, he's super talented. That's why I wanted that person. But he hadn't had a hit. It's just the way it was. So I think that what they do is, because now, like, whatever, you look at any of the actors, right? Jennifer Lawrence, Chris Pratt, any of those guys. I love Chris Pratt, by the way. I think he's really good. But they all have a dollar amount that's attached to them. And if you don't keep that dollar amount up, then you don't get to greenlight the movies you want to greenlight. You don't get that actor out there. So what you're trying to do is stack your movies up. You want another movie in the hopper before your latest movie comes out, right? Because then they're very invested in you getting another gig. And I think that's what happened. I mean, it used to be that people would say, no, don't do too much. You don't want to be overexposed, right? You want to be desirable. And I don't know what's gone on there, but I just don't find him compelling to watch. Maybe in the early days, like Elysium, but I haven't found him compelling to watch in years.
Yeah.
We have a question from the chat. It says, Matthew really likes SWAT Under Siege. What was Michael? Man, help me out with that name. I don't want to mess
Jay.
with
Jai.
Jay.
Jai. It's Jai.
it. Is it Jay or Jai? Jai.
Jai. Yeah. So I did it was one of those things. So I am a martial artist. Actually, I was when I had a back. Everything my back's done now. I'm an old man now. But so I got offered this role. That's another one of those where the director knew me and he calls me up and he goes, are you going to accept the offer or not? And I was like, what? What offer? He goes, it expires in like 15 minutes. We offered you a role.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. That happens more than you would think. It happens more often than you would think.
Oh my god!
And so I'm like, I'll do it because I knew Michael was doing it, and it got Adrian Palecki in it, and
nice.
Yeah, cool. It was a good cast, and I was going to fight Michael in it, and Michael is the real deal. Like
I would say, I've and everyone I've ever heard that worked with him says that guy knows his stuff. So
yeah, he's really good, and so I will tell you a little bit of a story about that as well. So I get up to Vancouver. I get there and they want you to go straight to the dojo. And I'm like, well, it's on then. All right. So I get off the plane and I've literally got my luggage with me. And I turn up to the dojo and Michael's there. and there's a couple of other guys there, stunt guys, and they're like, "All right, Matt, this is what we want you to do. We're going to run through say hello to Michael, and then okay, we're going to run through the moves." And it was like, I don't know, 1-2, duck under, kick, whatever. And I go 1-2, bum, 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 and then Michael goes, "All right, see ya," and he leaves. And I was like, "What's going on?" And what it was he wanted to make sure, I won't say, he had an experience with an actor that couldn't throw a punch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he turned up to make sure that I could do it. And then when I'm on set with him, I was wearing a suit. And I said, "Listen, my pants are going to rip if I have to kick him with this." And they're like, "No, it's fine. It's fine. We're sewed in some whatever it is, like lycra in there. First shot, boom, rip my pants."
Oh.
Oh no.
So yeah, that was not embarrassing at all.
Not at all.
So
we have another question that says, "How did you end up in DOA movie, and did you like it?"
So for those of you that don't know, DOA is based on the video game, right? You guys know the video game, I presume. And so Corey Yoon, who was the stunt coordinator for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, it was going to be his first movie, and he was going to be shot in China. And so I was like, I'm doing it, right? I'm doing it. And so, went over to China, got married halfway through, which is kind of a crazy thing. But it was a bit chaotic on the film because we'd be in the sound stage, and the Chinese would just carry on building when we were doing our scenes, which was kind of challenging. And so in the end, we ADR'd the whole movie, but that was really great, because Jamie Presley, she's amazing. She's a really, really lovely person. Holly Valance, all great guys. I got to work with Kane Kasugi, who was Sho Kasugi's son, the American Ninja. And that was a really great experience, like with the world's best martial artists, which is crazy. We were with the, again, like I said, you get to work with these people who are amazing. The Chinese national wushu team, and they were incredible. And so cool. Jet Li used to be a part of that. So that gives you some kind of an idea of how good they are. So that was great.
That's awesome.
Another question is, Biana Oldman and Daniel Day-Lewis, what actor would you really like to work with? From Mike D 501.
It's a great question. I think someone already mentioned it. I'd love to work with Denzel.
Well, apparently he's
retiring
on Black Panther 3, which
really?
Yeah, he said something about retiring. I hope he's just saying that the way that everybody just says that every now and then. I think Liam Neeson has retired like 4 times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's really great, obviously.
Before I still have Matthew here. If the panel has any more questions, please have them, get them ready. This is a show about criticless, even though Blaine has disappeared, and Matthew's gonna see firsthand what you think about his movie. So what you think about Rambo? It's not really his, but he was in the film. So I like a lot of people in the chat participate. They're all on criticless. So they go through this film. I gave it a 95.
Heck yeah!
Not because I know Matthew at all. Not even.
Yeah,
not even close.
Plays no part in that.
Yeah. Not 95. But Marianne, I see a lot of these people in the chat, so they gave it a 100. Love this movie. All the Rambo movies. Look at that. Gator Tico gave it a 95. Blaine, man, who's on the panel, Matthew, only gave it an 80.
No, come on.
I understand.
Oh my gosh, Blaine.
Wow,
I'm gonna be honest. I absolutely waited for a second, right before I sent my review, and I was like, he's gonna be on the panel, man. Like, if I review this, and I was like, nah, I gotta be honest. I can't, but
you got to do the real thing, man. You got to say the truth.
Wait, like
Blaine,
Jaws.
This was your first time watching it.
Yeah, it was, dude. Yeah, I'd heard how brutal this movie was forever, but not actually seen it. And it was one of those like whole time watching, I'm like, holy shit! Like they pulled no punches in this movie. This movie's awesome. It's different than the others for sure, but I really like it. It's a different vibe than the other films, but it's so gritty. And you did a great job, man. I really did dig it. I think this is an awesome movie.
Thank you.
This is straight up. I'm gonna be honest. Like I remember this movie being violent. Watching it again, I was like, this may actually be the most violent movie I've ever seen.
I know.
Right.
It's like,
But I also kind of dig it because it's like there's a reason for it. But I was like, man, when he ripping that guy's throat out, dude, is still one of the coolest things ever, dude.
That was pretty
Oh my
cool.
gosh.
Steel Leg real quick says, Matthew, glad to see you here. You're one of my favorite actors. Thanks for being a great person and putting up with Jay. He's a great friend to me too. God bless. Thank you. And then we have let's see. Somebody asked, I just want to make sure I get these questions before he has to go. Somebody asked, oh yeah, here we go. I don't know why. Life on Marshmallow says, hey Matt, can you recommend a nice pair of shoes?
It's because of your back. That's why. It's the back support.
I don't know.
Maybe. SD0 gave it an 82. He says Rambo isn't a Christmas movie. Isn't a Christmas movie at all. No, it's not. Holy Fudge gave it an 85. Elite Super Grunt, who's in the chat, gave it an 85. Awesome movie. Brutal, full of gore. Rough Night gave it an 80. Also in the chat. Alex, my dude, gave it a 100. Second favorite Rambo movie. The first being Rambo First Blood Part 2. Look at that. 300 Mirrors. That's Lily, who's on the panel. Gave it a 97. Look at that. Mo gave it a 90. First off, this is a banger of an action flick. There you go. Epic Mike gave it an 84. That's more than Blaine. And then we get into...
It's all right. We haven't gotten to Jonas yet.
Ferguson gave it a 67. Wasp gives it an 80. She's in the chat. I can't get these names. I'm doing this kind of quickly. 75. We get a 76. That still means they're rad. That's good. Right? You guys got to understand that. That means it's good. This person says, do not watch this on a dinner date. Probably not. Probably a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
Probably Toxic gave it a 92. Dixie gave it a 50. Just like Indiana Jones, there are only 3 true Rambo movies. This isn't one of them.
Oh, no.
Oh, savage.
Hey, it happens, you know. It has
Savage.
Josh Binks gave it a 60. Steel Egg, I just read, gave it a 100. Sevi gives it a 100. Jonas gave it. All right, Jonas is on the panel.
Sorry. He did me.
Like I said.
And first of all, 75 is a perfectly good score.
He didn't even write anything.
He didn't even write anything. Get him out.
The first time I got to watch it.
Jonas.
He raised it by 5 points. It was 70 earlier, so don't let him fool you.
I'm sorry. Karen.
Beach Dad 85.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that Blaine had changed genders.
My man Spider Unlimited gave it a 95. He said this is the true sequel to First Blood. Eric gave it a 75. Nick gave it an 83. Bob Rogers gave it an 80. War Machine with a 100. That's awesome. Life on Marshmallow is a 72. And then we get into some of the older reviews that are on there. This is kind of what we do here, Matthew. We go through some of the films. We share the people's review on Critic List because we want people to join because we want to hear from real people and their voices, not just that fake stuff that being in the business. If you give them a little money, they might change their viewpoint on certain films. You know, so that's why we love Critic List, and we want to push it and promote it so that more people will be on by this guy Blaine right here.
That's right. Yeah, and you didn't say, Jay, the audience score is an 84%, which is super high for Critic List. Like this movie's still doing, it's doing really well. So, yeah. I
want to compare it to Black Hawk Down real quick because, that's a good question. Just curious.
That's hard.
87. That's really high. So 87.
I think that should be higher, honestly.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. A lot of 100s and 90s. Look at that. 160 is probably not American. So
he's from Somalia. Didn't like that at all.
Makes sense.
Does Matthew Marsden have his own shield? on here?
Oh
Do I have
yeah,
a show?
yeah. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, he's definitely got an account.
He's got to be.
Oh yeah, he's probably easier.
Yeah,
to
here he
find.
is, right here. There we go. Look at
Yeah.
that.
There I am. Look at that.
There it
There it
is.
is.
Before
There
I
it
had
is.
kids.
There's all his and it's got all your credentials on here too.
Yep.
You were in an episode of 2.5 Men?
I was in 2 episodes of 2.5 Men.
I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yeah.
That was the
Competition.
first. You were in Tenet, Anacondas, Reacher,
Yeah,
CSI
Tenet's
Miami.
all-
I did not know that one. There's Rambo.
Tenant,
Atlas
they
Shrugged.
called me up and they asked me to go and do. It's funny because like they just called me up and they said, "Cause you never know with these movies like how long you're going to be on it, because they, you know, you got to be in it to win it." So they called me up and they were like, "Hey, we're doing some military stuff. Do you want to come and do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll come and do it. Of course, I'm not going to say no to Christopher Nolan."
Right.
And I was actually on it for 2 weeks, but you know, you don't see that because again with those big movies I'm right next to Robert Pattinson the whole way through, but it's just the way it ends up getting cut. So it was fun.
Can you, real quick,
That's awesome.
again, thank you so much for your time, Matthew. Could you talk a little bit about I Am That Man? Because I know that was a passion project. How did you get
Yeah,
the
I'll
funding
be
for
quick.
that?
Yeah, so you know, after being in after doing Black Hawk Down, I was very fortunate to, as I've said before, I've worked a lot with the guys in the special operations community. And if you think about from 2000 onwards, all the movies about the military were negative. You know, you had Green Zone, Rendition, Redacted. You know, they're all pretty negative. And I saw these guys coming back home, and a lot of the guys that have PTSD were shown as being drunks and drug addicts and all this, and a lot of them were just like regular guys that felt like they couldn't talk to their wives or their kids because, you know, for multiple different reasons, but also that they were going to be deployed again, and so they had to stay sharp. So what I did was I took a bunch of the stories that I knew and I wrote this film. And I said, you know, I'm going to go out and kind of wrap it in a like little bit of an action kind of shroud, as it were. But really, it's about family. It's about a relationship between a dad and his son and a husband and as it's right there, right, husband, father, weapon. And that's there's a lot of secret sauce in it if you're a veteran. So we made it. I wrote it. I decided this is the way it went. We said, right, we're shooting the movie. 2 weeks later, we were in production. 2 weeks after that, we were done. So
2 weeks.
Wow. Holy smokes.
That
shot
is
one day. We did 46
fast.
setups, I think it was.
Did you
Oh my
direct this as
gosh.
well?
Yeah, I directed it. Yeah.
So that's not your,
Bro.
is that your directorial debut?
yeah,
It is. Yeah. That's what I remember.
yeah,
46
So-
setups in a day?
yeah. It was mental.
Was it like 18 hours? Or was that just a full 24-hour day? Do you guys just not stop?
No, well, because I'd shot it all in my head, and I didn't have I didn't even have playback, and I was in the scene. So I had DJ Caruso, you know, the director who did I Am Number 4 and Eagle Eye. He came on set, and I said to him, I was like, DJ, I feel like I've got it, right? But my first AD is asking me to do another take. He goes, if you've got it, you've got it. Move on. So I was like, right, boom, we're done. And so I'm known for in the industry, like really being a one-take wonder. Like I get it right on the first take. So I was like, well, if other people have got the confidence in me to do it, I feel like I've got it right. Let's go. So we just, you know, rocked through it, and now it's got like 5.4 million views on YouTube alone, and for a movie that's very big. And and it was shot in LA on a tight budget. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a great experience. And you know what? I've had veterans come to me, and we were in Fayetteville doing a screening, and this woman came up to me and she said, I was going to divorce my husband until I saw this movie.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
Dang.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so cool.
So, you know, it's not my opus. You know what I mean? I mean, I just wanted to get out there and make something, because sometimes you just got to get out there and do it, and you know, to prove to people that you can do it. And I say, to, you know, when you're out there trying to get money, try and raise money, I'm like, how many people do you know that have written, directed, produced, and starred in their own movie?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So and that's to all the filmmakers out there. Go make it. Go do something. Get it done.
Yep. Absolutely.
What Matthew hasn't shared with you is that he's going to be voice acting in one of the greatest animations ever, if it ever gets done. And that's my story, Achromatic Chronicles Blue.
Oh,
He already promised me. He already promised me.
It's gonna get done, Jay. Okay, we're working on it.
He already promised me. I was like, Matthew, how much do I have to pay? He's like, brother, you're my friend. I'll do it for nothing. So now that I said it live, he's got to stick with it. So
you also said if it ever gets done live, Jay. You made it sound like it's never gonna happen.
It's close. It's getting there. It's getting there.
We're getting there.
I saw some test footage. You know, it's pretty cool. And I'm getting ready to call all my friends now. It's like, Gina, remember you said, and all these people like coming down to the studio. So, but no. How's your time, Matthew? I know it was.
I gotta skip now, unfortunately. But
no, brother. Thank you so much for your time, and
appreciate you, man.
Love to have you back to talk Black Hawk Down.
Yes.
Yeah,
probably Anacondas. I love that.
Thank you for being here.
Yes,
yeah,
thank
thanks,
you so
dude.
much.
Yeah,
thank you.
You guys are doing God's work. Because it's so important that we reclaim the culture.
Yep.
And you guys have, it's interesting for an old fart like me to see you guys, come to the fore and really influence people. And it's really, really important job. It's a really, really important job. So thank you for the generation. You're going to give people the opportunity to actually get into the industry in the future. So I really appreciate that.
No, and thank you. And make sure you subscribe to his channel.
Yep.
You're going to love what you see over there.
Yep.
It is in the description, and the mods have been dropping it. Thank you, Matthew. I really appreciate you, man, and we'll be in touch real soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, man.
Bye-bye.
Awesome to meet you again.
You too.
Later, man.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Well, that was awesome.